Hey guys, Garo97 again. This time with a review of the 1/100 scale Reborn 100 Dijeh from the Zeta Gundam series. For colors, we get a very interesting mixture between teal and very dark blue. Not something we see too often. I mean, we have the Nemo and that is about it. Then for the vents, we get a nice yellow, also on the color. We get it for the pipe, the energy pipe on the beam rifle, and also for the beam Naginata. Then talking about the beam rifle, here we get a very nice gunmetal gray, also used on the bazooka and on the shield right there. Then the other grays, that's your standard gray. We get it for the lower arms, the joints, the hands, a few other details here and there. And then while I'm holding this thing, we also get a few clear parts. We get it for the scope of the beam rifle and the mono eye. Now the cool thing about both of them is, even though we get a sticker, because they're clear parts, if you don't want to use the sticker, you can just paint them very easily and it is still going to look awesome. So that's a really cool thing. So then moving on to the stickers that we're getting. For normal stickers, not a lot. As I've already mentioned, we get a very nice metallic green one. For the scope, we get a normal pink one. For the mono eye, then we get for some reason, a shiny red one here. I don't think it should be shiny. This probably would have looked better if it was just normal matte. Just as the yellow ones that go on here. These are just normal matte stickers on each side. So overall, the stickers are completely understandable, the ones that we are getting. Of course, the Reborn 100s wouldn't have Moss grade-like quality if it wasn't for the plethora of marking stickers that we're getting. And man, as usual, we get a lot of them. Amro symbols, Anaheim Electronics, we get the Karaba Air Force on there. But doesn't seem like we get a lot of other things for Karaba, but it's definitely made up by all of the other stuff, like warnings, a little arrow just pointing out Anaheim Electronics, and your lot. Feel free to apply them wherever you see fit. On to Articulation, and this is where I wasn't really sure how things were going to go, because when you look at the head, well, we have these long cables which connect to the back, but surprisingly enough, the head still rotates around pretty nicely while keeping that long cable inside there. So they did a very good job there. Up, not a whole lot, but then again, it is a pretty bulky head, down a bit. And for the mono eye, there isn't any clear part covering it, so you can just put your finger in there or grab something else small like a hobby knife and just push the eye around. And it will go about that far. Then we get on with the problem that has been plaguing the Reborn 100 line ever since its beginning, the shoulders. And well, this time around, all the way around, forwards, backwards, no problem whatsoever. Seems like they finally fixed it with Dijeh, and I am very happy to see that. Now, one funny thing with the right shoulder in particular is, well, this all moves up very nicely to go out of the way, but you can technically move this arm upwards a bit further, but then it's going to lock into place with another piece, and it's for some reason extremely hard to get back down again to the point that you're going to worry about breaking it. So it will go further just as much as this arm, but doing so will lock it up. I don't know why that happened or why they thought it was a smart design choice, but you know, that kind of happens. And the shield's on a ball joint. We'll turn around and wiggle around a little bit. Another very cool thing about this shield is that it goes up and you actually have some piston action. That is really cool. Then elbows are double jointed, go up. Not quite all the way, but still plenty enough. Hands on ball joints. We'll turn around if you're careful and do everything a ball joint does. Now the waist, of course, because of the design, it is going to be rather limited because the not cockpit goes down very, very far. So it will wiggle around on the lower joint to the sides, and then we'll go forwards a little bit and backwards a little bit on the top joint. And we'll also rotate around a very little bit. But once again, because of this piece that looks like a cockpit, it can't do a lot because of the way the mobile suit itself was designed. Then when we turn around, we of course have the wing binders. They will flap and rotate around. Then these thrusters are individually on ball joints, so they will actually have some very nice movement to them as well. On to the front skirts, and they are kind of an odd design because, well, they do of course what normal front skirts do, but because of the way they're designed, you can actually pull them out a little bit and push them in a little bit. The problem with this is that they're not always going to sit flush with the side skirts or with each other if you're kind of moving them around. Also, there's a peg here that will actually fit in there. I'm guessing they did that so that's a little bit easier to line them up. Anyways, legs go forward about that far, then backwards about this far, but as always, you have this swivel joint inside, which means that the peg can go forwards a little bit, and then when you move them backwards, you get a bit of extra articulation. Because the Dijeh is a pretty bulky machine, it's not as significant as the others, and forwards it's not going to do anything at all, but you know, it still gives that boost to the articulation nonetheless. Go out about that far, and we'll rotate around all the way. Then the knees are very interesting. They're double jointed, but they're not going to bend a lot because, well, these hoses here were definitely a design problem. But they bend very beautifully. Now, sometimes you will have to kind of hold your finger on here so that these hoses don't pop off. For mine, the left one is extremely solid, but the right ones constantly pop off. And then you kind of just put your finger on there and it'll be okay. Another problem these hoses present is that they do push the legs down. So really, even if they had given them more articulation, these hoses essentially would have said, nope, you're not going to bend any more than about 90 degrees. Then the feet go forwards a bit, backwards, not really a lot, side to side. Once again, not that much, and rotation also not that much because of course we have that giant fan generator thruster thing on the sides of the legs. So yeah, it is hindered a bit because of the design of the machine itself. So overall, the Dijeh is about as articulated as he could have been, with most of the problems stemming from the design of the Dijeh itself and not really any design problems. So they did a pretty damn good job with the Dijeh, making him as good as they could in the Reborn 100 line. So then, moving on with accessories. First of all, one I've already shown, the beam rifle. And a fun fact is that the beam rifle and the bazooka are actually the same as the ones we got with the Hyakushiki version 2.0. They just gave us different handles with pegs that would fit into the hands we get with the Reborn 100 line. And the cool thing about the beam rifle is, of course, get double pegs, one on each side, so you can put this thing in whichever hand you want. Simply pop it into the peg there, close up the hand, and in it goes. Now the weird thing with the bazooka, the clay bazooka, is look at the handle. Try finding the pegs. I can't find them either because they're not there. And that's just very weird because both hands have holes for pegs in them. The beam rifle has a handle with pegs in it, with pegs on it. And the thing about that handle is it was specifically molded for the Dijeh. Same goes with the handle for the beam rifle, specifically molded for the Dijeh. So it's not like they recycled this from some other model kit that did not have that handle. It's just that for some reason they didn't. Because well, they did on the beam rifle. It's a bit odd. And well, it's a bit flimsy in the hand. Because of that, it doesn't really seem to fit with the hand. But because of course the way the clay bazooka is designed, it's supposed to be held like under the shoulder. So really, all in all, it's not going to be too big of an issue. We'll still flail around a bit, but there you go. Also, if you try really hard and you don't mind the Dijeh looking a bit funny, you can actually get it over the shoulder if you really want to. But let's say you don't want to use the beam rifle or the clay bazooka, well, you can simply store them on the back. With the beam rifle, it's a very cool mechanic it's got going. First, you push the handle forwards, which will reveal this little clasp here that will go on the back, then fold it back in there, and very carefully pull it out, not too far, because then the entire thing is gonna fall down. Like that in there. And for the clay bazooka, of course, push it out again, pull it out again, and of course with the clay bazooka, it's just right there, and in that thing goes. And so, as I said before, the same things as the Hyakushiki, meaning that, well, if you want a Dijeh with 2 beam rifles or a Hyakushiki with 2 clay bazookas, well, make the switch. The final weapon we get is the beam Naginata. And unfortunately, this weapon disappointed me the most of the bunch because the beam blades just don't look like they're up to snuff. They're nice, they're detailed, but they're just too small. To prove my point, here is a beam blade from the Gelgoog 1.0, and it's significantly longer. To drive my point even more home, here we have the Gelgoog High Rate Universal Centuries beam Naginata, and if you look at them from a distance, you could be forgiven for thinking that they were identical. Except for the handle, which is of course longer on the Dijeh's beam Naginata, the beam blade effect parts seem to be identical in length. So that, for a machine of this size, a giant machine, this just feels too underpowered and unimpressive. So I was really hoping for something beefier for the Dijeh, because we get that very nice beam rifle, we get the bazooka, and then we get this thing which is, yeah, it's not bad, but for the Dijeh you would want something that looks more impressive. That's really the unfortunate part about the beam Naginata. Also, it is at that angle a lot of beam sabers are. And I would almost say just grab a Gelgoog 1.0 or 2.0, grab those beam blades and carve them up a little bit so that they fit into the beam Naginata of the Dijeh. So then let's say that you don't want to use the beam Naginata, well, simply remove it from the hands and peg it onto the back skirt. There we go. And you never have to use that beam Naginata again. I mean, we get a beam rifle, we get a bazooka, so it's not too big of a deal. And to wrap accessories up, we also get 2 extra pairs of hands. We get 1 pair of closed fist hands, 1 pair of open palm hands. Then we get a connector for an action base number 1, connects to the bottom, and this part will connect to that action base. And some leftover parts. As I said, we get the handles for the clay bazooka and for the beam rifle. Now we don't get the pegs that should click on there. Also, talking about spare parts, this was a spare part we got with the Hyakushiki version 2.0. And this was supposed to go into the ammo pack of the bazooka. Now remember what I said about the bazooka being identical. So that means that we can remove the ammo pack and put these in there. Because of course we don't get any with our Dijeh here, but we can fortunately use the Hyakushiki's spare one. Amuro and Char sharing the love. Talking about ammo packs, we can of course also remove this one if you try hard enough. It's on there very securely, and unfortunately, just as with the Hyakushiki, we don't get anywhere to put spare ammo packs. There we go. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And by all means, the Dijeh seems to be the average Reborn 1/100 scale release. it does a lot of things good, it does some things not quite as good, but overall it's a solid machine that is worth its price. It has some nice bulk to it, it looks great, looks really sharp, nicely detailed, comes with the marking stickers, and overall, if you like the Dijeh, it is totally something you should pick up. And even if maybe at first you were a bit unsure about the Dijeh, the cool thing about this model kit in particular is that it also upgraded the design. It's not just that they took the line art and turned it into a model kit, they definitely made it sharper than the original line art. For example, the body here, they made it somewhat slimmer. The arms, for example, they added these vents here. The face, the head, it looks like they just made that thing look a lot more badass. And talking about more badassness, even the wing binders, they slightly altered these spikes that are on there. There were some spikes on top, but they made the spikes on top bigger. They added the ones at the bottom. And of course, these pistons here on the shield that I believe is supposed to carry the Hyper Mega Launcher from the Hyakushiki. They added those pistons. Those are absolutely fantastic. So this time around, even if you weren't too sure about the Dijeh, this is definitely a kit that can make you fall in love with Dijeh because it absolutely looks fantastic. Like a modern cross between a Gelgoog and a Zaku. So for comparisons, kind of to prove my point, here is next to the Gelgoog and of course the Zaku. And really, it definitely seems to take some aesthetics from both of them. Of course, we have the shield from the Zaku, then we kind of have like the overall feel of the Gelgoog, like the white legs at the bottom, the head looks like, it's kind of like a more modernized Gelgoog head, kind of with some, dare I say it, Federation influences, and overall it's a very nice mixture between the two of them. Of course, we also have to do a comparison with the Hyakushiki version 2.0, and man, these two look fantastic together. And we can't forget about the RX-78-2, Amuro's original machine. This is the version Kotoki you're looking at. And then finally, here he is next to the other two relatively standard sized Reborn 1100s. And which one of the three, or four including Nightingale, is the best one right now? Well, it's kind of hard to tell, because, well, the Dijeh, he definitely solved the problem with the shoulders, but then, of course, the Beam Naginata was a bit of a letdown. But as far as accessories and the entire package goes, I think that currently, for me, I would say it's a split between the Dijeh and the Gebera. Because, well, the Gebera has those fantastic accessories, doesn't really do too much wrong except for the shoulders. But then, of course, you have the Dijeh, also with great accessories. The beam rifle, the bazooka, the Naginata is a bit, yeah. But then, of course, it fixed the shoulder. So, it's definitely a split between those two for me personally. And then, of course, you can also debate which one looks the best. No doubt that, well, the Dijeh is the most bulky one, except for the Nightingale, of course. And looking at these three together really makes me excited for the next Reborn 1100. The Dijeh finally fixed the big problem with the shoulder, and that is the big thing I want to see from this model in order to be excited about the next ones. And I can't wait for the next one now. I really hope it's going to be one from Gundam Sentinel, because, well, Gundam Sentinel just hasn't been seeing enough love lately. Except in action figure department, but not in the model kit department. So really, they need to get on that. And that's all for this review, and see you guys next time.